All right, it is time for Ask Uncle Chael. We're going to start here with Paco. Paco says, Hey Chael, who are the top 5 talkers in pro wrestling history? You get to choose from Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, The Rock, Stone Cold, and Terry Funk. On that list, I don't feel that list to be competitive. It would come down to The Rock and Austin. Those guys were both so good, but they were so different. I've always put them in a tie. I've always got Rock and Austin and Rock, but I've always put them equal. The Rock would come out and he was more dynamic, but the Stone Cold character and Stone Cold's a way to get the fans to interact. Now the Rock was very good with that as well, but I'm sharing with you the Rock would switch it up and he would mix it up because he was good. He was so diverse that he could go into one town and sing a song. He'd go into a different town, as Chris Jericho says it, and read a Chinese menu and make it interesting. Stone Cold was more in a box. But because of that, he had really perfected that box. It's very hard. If you were to make me list them, if that was the only way to play the game, I would go Rock 1, Austin 2. Look, I appreciated Flair and Dusty Rhodes. I think that Terry Funk should not be on this list. I think that Dusty has been, rest his soul, remembered a little more fondly than he deserves, but I do get that he had skills there. All right. I think Chris Taco says, Chael, I think Colby beats Bo Nickal. Do you think they will fight? Yes. I do think that fight is a possibility. I think that it's very strong. I know that behind the scenes, they are interested in making that fight at the White House. I believe that Colby is a 170-pounder, and I don't know what his goals still are at 170. I was told by people that Colby made an announcement that he has moved up to middleweight. Now, I did see Colby make that announcement, but I thought he was talking about for wrestling. Colby is back to competitive wrestling. He's got a contract with Real American Freestyle. I thought that's what we were talking about. I could be wrong. And even if I'm not, I am right to tell you there is an interest in booking Colby versus Bo at the White House. I think that answers your question. Now, this was a very interesting one. I saw this coming yesterday. This is from Kevin Lee himself. Yes, that Kevin Lee. The Kevin Lee. Listen to what he says. This is big. He says, I saw Ilia training back in 2022 before he was champ. He was still at 145. But it made me realize, okay, so are you picturing this? Kevin Lee goes somewhere. He sees Ilia. He watches him train. Kevin's a veteran. He's a well-known. He's a main event guy. He's watching a 45-pounder who's not all that known train and thinking, wow, this guy's really good. Kevin says, it made me realize the new guys were going to be very hard to catch up with. Once Ilia beat Charles, I lost a lot of my own competitive drive. Has that ever happened to you, Chael? Wow. I mean, there's quite an omission there. I would love to have Kevin Lee on and have him tell this. I mean, I feel like this needs about 20 minutes, and he referenced specifically when he watches Ilia, goes, hey, that guy's good. He's got some skills that take many years to develop. If I was to learn those skills and start practicing them now, I don't have the many years. This is what Kevin's saying. Said I then saw Ilia beat Oliveira. Now, Oliveira is somebody from Kevin Lee's past. Like if Kevin Lee was to catch up to the current guys of his era that he's had in the past, it's going to take a lot of work. And he's now seeing that this new, younger breed, Ilia specifically, has passed up what Kevin was trying to reach. Are you understanding the math here? And that when he looked at it, like he's so impressed with Ilia, but it makes himself just go, oh. He loses competitive drive. It didn't gain a motivation. He was able to be very realistic and logical with what it was that he was looking at. And what he was looking at was a younger, better version of what he had been chasing. And he asked if I can relate to that, and I most definitely can. I most definitely do know what you mean. And I would see guys, and it was more in my wrestling day than my fighting day, but I would see guys that were the top guys, and some young guy would come on and challenge them. And a lot of times the young guy would win, but it was a very hard spot. It's a very hard spot. Vito had to go through this last year. As the reigning NCAA and world champion, Vito has to deal with a high school kid. And it was a very hard walk for Vito to make. I remember watching it, and I just remember thinking, there's nothing to gain here. There's no way you can win. Most people would not even be willing to go out there and put it on the line. So, yes, Kevin, I know exactly what you're talking about. Formal chaos. Hey, Chael, which wrestlers from your era was the most underappreciated and you'd like to give them some shine? Thanks for everything you have done in wrestling. Well, I had a teammate named Doug Lee, and Doug could beat everybody in the country. In fact, Doug beat guys. Doug was not super into wrestling. He was super good at wrestling. Doug got super into wrestling during wrestling season. And generally at the Division I level, it doesn't work that way. You got to eat, sleep it, and breathe it. And by the way, it's a whole year cycle. And yeah, everybody needs a break, but that's a couple of weeks, 3 at the most. At the most. And in those 3 weeks, by the way, you get completely out of shape and have to start over from the beginning. Doug would only focus on the sport for 3 or 4 months. But in those 3 or 4 months, he would outwork. I mean, he had this intensity, and he had this drive, and he had this look in his eye. But he was never that into wrestling. Like, there was never a day when Doug dreamed of being an Olympic champion. It wasn't like that. Doug didn't dream of taking these skills and being in the UFC. It wasn't like that. Whatever it was he was going to do or that he wanted to do was confined to the wrestling season. But if you go back, Doug beat guys that went on to be Olympians. Doug beat guys that went on to be NCAA champions. Doug beat guys that went on to be UFC heroes. Doug beat guys that have world medals. Like, he was one of these guys where he wasn't going to get encouragement to stick around because nobody wanted him. You want him out of the bracket. He would come in and bust a bracket. He could have gone in and ruined Olympic brackets. So yeah, if you ask me about one guy, and there's a number of them, but that's the story I will tell you for now. All right. Micah Vindico says, what are some interesting matchups coming up in RFA? Who's going to win and why? Is Sadulayev really going to be wrestling there soon? I love learning about the wrestlers from you. You put out my favorite wrestling content. Well, thank you very much. So, I have been sworn to secrecy on a few things, and I'm sworn to secrecy for you so that you can get the reveal through the press conference and through the marketing PR team that gets the most excitement from you. But the Sadulayev rumors are true. I can confirm that. He is signed. He is coming to America. He got his visa. He's got his paperwork. He's got everything sorted out. And he has his first opponent. He did a 3-match deal, and it could even be a 5-match deal. And he's just got the attitude that he will take on anybody. So they're going to be able to play with a couple of different weights. They're going to be able to put him against the top 97-pound talent, but they're also going to be able to put him against the top 92-kilogram talent. Sadulayev has made that clear. He doesn't care. You pick the opponent. I think that's a pretty exciting attitude. I'll give you another one. Behind the scenes, Sarukian. I don't know how good Sarukian is, but neither do you. Like at freestyle wrestling, I don't know. In MMA, he's a great wrestler. In freestyle wrestling, I don't know. I've seen him do it one time. Oh, and by the way, it was against the second best guy in America. Oh, and by the way, he was very dominant. But what I would share with you is his attitude. He is not afraid of anything, but including failure. And most of us as humans, are afraid to fail at something. We're afraid to go and do something if we know that it's not going to succeed. That would bring an embarrassment. He's not afraid of anything, including failure. Like behind the scenes, when they're trying to find good matchups and interesting matchups for Sarukian, it's no problem. No problem. Whoever you want to bring. And that has to be the attitude. If you're doing competition and you have guys that are being selective, you now no longer have competition. So those are the two stories I would tell you for now. And a final one here is from Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam here, Chael. Do you got Justin beating Ilia for the White House card? Looks like a main event to me. Well, no, I don't imagine that Justin could beat Ilia anywhere. You believe that will be the main event of the White House? That caught me off guard. It could be. It could be. It's going to be the main event of something. Like the White House card is not going to come out and be this weird and different card like everybody is telling you. There would be no reason for it to be. If you made it a weird and different card, that would be weird. The product UFC works. That's what the people want. That's what the people love. That was what's invited to the White House. And for those reasons, we don't need any of the weird stuff. And Justin Gaethje versus Ilia, is that big enough for this moment? Yeah. Title versus title? Yeah. I don't think that's going to be your White House fight. But you are right when you say it could be.